It always plays out the same way. Someone raises their voice at you. They say something unfair, something that isn't true. And in that exact moment, the moment you most need your words, your mind goes completely, perfectly blank. No comeback, no defense, not even a sentence. Just static. A white wall where your thoughts used to be. So you nod, maybe you mumble something, maybe you just stand there and take it. And later, an hour later, in the car, in the shower, at 2 a.m., the perfect response finally arrives. Sharp, clear, exactly what you should have said. And then comes the second wave. The shame. Why am I like this? Why can't I stand up for myself? Why does my brain abandon me the one time I need it? I need you to hear this, because no one has ever explained it to you properly. You are not weak. You are not a coward. You are not slow, and you are not a pushover. What happens to you in that moment has a name. It is one of the oldest survival programs in the human body. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why your mind goes dark and how to bring it back online. The reaction you've been calling freezing up is not a character flaw. It's a reflex. Scientists call it the freeze response, and it sits right alongside the two reactions you already know about, fight and flight. You've heard of fight or flight your whole life, but almost no one tells you about the third option, the quietest one, the one that doesn't run and doesn't punch. It goes still. And here's the first thing that should change how you see yourself. You did not choose this. You can't think your way out of it in the moment, because by the time you're blank, the thinking part of your brain has already stepped aside. Something faster and far older has taken the wheel. Let me show you what's actually happening inside your head in those few seconds, because once you see the machinery, the shame starts to dissolve. There are three things happening in your brain when you go blank. Three switches that flip in a fraction of a second. The first is the alarm. Deep in your brain sits a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Its only job is to scan for danger, and it is fast, much faster than thought. The amygdala reacts in about 1/10 of a second, long before the logical part of your brain even knows what's going on. So, when someone's voice sharpens, when a face turns hostile, your amygdala doesn't wait for permission. It pulls the alarm. Psychologists call this the amygdala hijack, the emotional brain seizing control before the rational brain can speak. You're not overreacting. Your alarm system is simply doing its job a beat too well. The second is the shutdown. And this is the part that explains the blankness. When that alarm fires, your body floods with stress hormones and reroutes its resources towards survival. And the first system to get switched off is the one you need most in an argument, your prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for reasoning, for planning, and for language. Researchers who study trauma have even watched this happen on brain scans. Under threat, the region that produces speech, Broca's area, goes quiet. Quiet. So when you stand there, unable to find a single word, it isn't because you're stupid or slow. It's because the part of your brain that makes words has temporarily gone offline. Your body decided in that instant that surviving mattered more than speaking. Think of it like a computer under attack. To protect itself, it shuts down every non-essential program. Your wit, your arguments, your clever comebacks. To your nervous system, those are non-essential programs, so it closes them instantly. The third is the freeze itself. This is the oldest switch of all, older than fight, older than flight. Biologists call it tonic immobility. You've seen it in nature. The deer that locks up in the headlights, the rabbit that goes rigid, the possum that plays dead. For hundreds of millions of years, going still kept animals alive. Predators are wired to chase movement. A creature that froze, that stopped, went silent, stopped breathing hard, could become almost invisible. The stillness was the strategy. And you carry that exact program. When your nervous system decides that fighting is too dangerous and running is impossible, it reaches for the oldest tool in the box. It freezes you in place. Not to humiliate you, to protect you. So let's name the three together. The alarm fires before you can think. The thinking brain goes dark, taking your words with it. And the most ancient survival program in your body presses pause. That's not weakness. That is a 200-million-year-old reflex, working exactly as designed. Here's the metaphor I want you to hold on to. Your nervous system is like the electrical panel in a house. When too much current surges through the wires all at once, a circuit breaker trips and the power cuts out. The room goes dark. Now, a person who doesn't understand electricity panics. The house is broken, something's wrong with me. But an electrician sees the truth. The breaker tripped on purpose. That sudden darkness isn't a failure. It's a safety system doing precisely what it was built to do, protecting the house from burning down. When you go blank, your breaker is tripping. The surge, the raised voice, the conflict, the hostility, was more current than your system was willing to let through, so it cut the power to keep you safe. You were never malfunctioning. Your safety system was working. The only thing you were missing was someone to tell you what the darkness actually meant. But there's a deeper question here. Why does your breaker trip so easily? Two people can hear the same sharp comment, and one fires back instantly, while the other goes silent. Why you? The answer is usually not in your genes. It's in your history. A nervous system learns, especially when it's young. If you grew up in a home where raised voices meant real danger, where a parent's anger was unpredictable, where conflict ended in punishment, where speaking up made things worse, your body was paying attention. It learned a rule, and it learned it early. When there is conflict, do not fight. Go quiet. Disappear. That is how we stay safe. And it worked. As a child with no power and nowhere to go, freezing may have genuinely been the safest thing you could do. Your nervous system filed that lesson away as survival wisdom. The problem is that it never got the update. So now, decades later, when a coworker challenges you in a meeting, or a partner snaps at you across the kitchen, your body runs the same childhood program. It still hears raised voice and files it under threat to survive, not disagreement to win. So if you freeze easily, it almost always means the same thing. Somewhere along the way, you learned that conflict was dangerous. Your silence today is the echo of a younger you who was trying to stay safe. That's not a flaw you should be ashamed of. It's a wound that makes complete sense. And wounds can heal. So, what do you actually do? You can't argue your way out of a frozen brain. Remember, the part that argues is offline. But you can work with your nervous system instead of against it. Here are 3 tools. 1. Reopen the breaker with your breath. You cannot force your thinking brain back online with willpower, but you can do it through your body. The fastest way is a long, slow exhale, longer than your inhale. Breathe in for 4 counts, out for 6 or 7. This quietly signals one thing to your nervous system: the danger has passed. A few of these breaths, and the power starts flowing back to the parts of your brain that can finally speak. In the moment, you can also plant your feet flat on the floor and feel the ground. It sounds almost too simple, but it tells your body where it is, and that it is, right now, safe. 2. Preload a single sentence. Here's the trick about freezing. You can't generate words live, but you can prepare one line in advance. Just one. Something like, "I need a moment to think about this, and I'll come back to you." Memorize it until it's automatic, because even when your brain is blank, a sentence you've rehearsed 100 times can still come out. And that one sentence does something powerful. It buys you time, it ends the pressure to perform on the spot, and it lets you respond later, when your full mind has returned. Walking away is not losing. It's choosing the ground you fight on. 3. Rewrite the replay. That perfect comeback that shows up an hour later? Stop treating it as proof that you failed. It's the opposite. It's proof that your mind works beautifully. The words were always in there. They just couldn't come out until your system felt safe again. So the next time the brilliant response arrives too late, don't punish yourself with it. Thank your brain for coming back online, and quietly notice, you're already getting better at this. So let me leave you with the truth that nobody gave you. When you go blank, it does not mean you are weak. It means you have a nervous system that once cared about your survival so fiercely that it would rather keep you silent than see you get hurt. That's not cowardice. That is a body that has been protecting you, faithfully, since before you can even remember. You don't need to become harder. You don't need to turn into the person who fires back and wins every argument. You just need to teach your nervous system something it never got to learn. That this room is safe. That you are an adult now. That your voice is allowed. It won't happen overnight, but every slow breath, every prepared sentence, every time you choose to come back to a conversation instead of drowning in it, you are gently rewiring a very old alarm. You are showing your body a new rule. And one day, the voice will rise, the conflict will come, and you'll notice the power didn't cut out. The lights stayed on. And you'll finally say the thing, right there in the moment. Now, if you recognized yourself in this, there's something else your mind probably does that we need to talk about. That habit of replaying old, embarrassing memories at 3 a.m., the cringe attacks that come out of nowhere. It runs on the very same system we just talked about. I break it down in this video right here. I'll see you over there.